Gordon Ramsay is invited to your house for dinner. Each piece of criticism he gives about the food awards you $1,000. What are you serving for dinner? Vanilla chicken. True story, I once accidentally made vanilla salmon for my wife when we were dating. The recipe called for a Greek yogurt crust. I can't remember if I just tried to power through with what I had on hand, or unknowingly grabbed the flavored yogurt. Didn't catch the smell or think to taste. We Saturday down, dug in, and almost gagged. 9 years later, vanilla fish is still used often as an analogy to where I may need to exercise caution or looks extremely likely to fail. My much older cousin made root beer floats for him and his new girlfriend. While he was drinking beer, he grabbed the wrong can and poured it in one of the cups, and off he went with his one good float and his one taste of death float, and sits down with this lovely woman. She takes one bite and nearly puked. He didn't understand why, so she told him to try it, and so he did. He finished the whole thing whole, letting her have the proper float. She stuck with him, but he sure hasn't lived it down yet. Whatever fits in my microwave. A baby, whole-up boiled chicken breast blended, served as soup. I always thought chicken was fucking disgusting, and then I had slow-cooked chicken and it was amazing. Boiled in no way equals slow-cooked, friend. Please, for the love of your taste buds, don't try boiled chicken. Gordon Ramsay is way harder on professional chefs than amateurs. So I'd try to make something complex enough that he'll have a lot to talk about, and good enough that he can tell I'm trying and won't just be like, the whole thing is terrible. I'd put together a sushi bar, some homemade chips and guacamole as an appetizer, and cheesecake for dessert, and some extra strength old fashions. Hopefully he'd comment on how they don't really go together well. I'm with you on team. Make something so strange that he can't stop talking about it. First, you have to brag about how amazing of a chef you are. This is critical, as Gordon is a nice guy but hates people who suck at should know better. Claim to have graduated from some culinary school or something. Second, gather the ingredients for his famous beef Wellington. Third, don't measure any of the seasonings, just yes, it needs more salt, why not? Fourth, after letting it rest, freeze, then microwave the shit out of it. Fifth, respond poorly to his criticism, thus invoking more criticism. $. I can tell you. Related to your third point, Gordon Ramsay would rip you a new one for measuring seasonings. Especially salt. You salt until it's not blah. Seasoning isn't an exact science. While consistency is important, every piece of meat or whatever you're cooking requires different levels of seasoning. Perhaps measure isn't the right word. How about, don't pay attention to it whatsoever. Don't taste test and salt the ever-living shit out of it every step of the way. My little brother's signature ground toothpaste and jelly sandwich. Finally, some real fucking food. Totally read this in his voice. If I give him something vile, he might not eat all of it. And the longer he's at that table, the more money I can milk out of him a year. So honestly, I'd make him my best dish with a few obviously weird choices thrown in. That way it'll be edible enough for him to take at least a few bites. And seeing how he handles signature dishes on Hell's Kitchen, I'm going to get picked the fuck apart. Anyway. Bonus points if I learn a better way to make my best dish. Double money if I can talk myself up before serving. And GT, double money if I can talk myself up before serving. This is the real key. I think a lot of other replies are missing. Gordon hates arrogant chefs the most, and spends the most time breaking them down. You'd be rolling in cash if you did that, lol. Yeah, you're genuinely kind. But your food is shit. He'll probably give his criticism to you with a good amount of kindness. Unless, of course, he knows you're earning money for each criticism. Then everything gets flipped, doesn't it? Something raw with no lamb sauce. Maybe my great-grandmother's remains. Two sons horror, Jesus Christ, dude. Right, no lamb sauce. Doesn't matter what I'm serving. What matters is I'm gonna let him know how amazing I think I am and how he himself couldn't make the meal any better if he tried. He'll spend the first 5 minutes trying to chop down the ego he thinks I have. The next 2 on why my food is dog shit. And the last 10 defending his own ego. You're right, chef. I'm a horrific cook. If you'll excuse me, I have to go deposit this check at a physical bank location because it's over my mobile deposit limit. Edit. While I appreciate all the replies offering sound advice on exactly what kind of shitty meal to prepare, I find it necessary to share my level of dedication to hyping up whatever garbage is on the serving platter. Put it to you like this. Kanye loves Kanye, and I'ma let you finish replying. But I'ma be the greatest ketchup sandwich hype man of all TAHME. This is the correct method. He strikes me as a guy who is fairly decent in real life and would appreciate any effort that anybody puts into cooking. If you made him a shit meal, he'd probably give it one criticism along the lines of *okay. This isn't going to cut it, let me show you how to cook, and then proceed to give you a full lesson in your kitchen. But if you came out and acted like a pompous asshole who was a genius at cooking, oh, he'd probably let you know how wrong you were in every single way. One of his best rants was when he did a Hotel Hell series and was up against a guy who thought he was The Great Gatsby or something, but who micromanaged everything to the point that his establishment was in the shitter. Does it even matter? I would just go for quantity. Right, me too. 32-course tasting menu. With terribly paired wine sippings for each item, monsieur. And next on the menu is our charbroiled cheese eye with our orange tartar sauce and freshly squeezed Capri Sun. A lot of people here aren't accounting for the fact that if it's so extremely bad, he'll just get up and walk away. No criticism to give, lol. I've watched an episode or 2 of Kitchen Nightmares. Here's what's for dinner. Fish that was frozen, but I will insist that it is fresh too. I will undercook it, insist that it is medium rare 3. The side will be some sort of assorted frozen veggies with 0 seasoning 4. The dessert will be store-bought 5. I will cook everything in a dirty microwave 6. I'll buy some roaches, kill them and sprinkle them around where I made the food 7. I'll take about an hour longer than is needed to serve him the food 8. I'll have someone else help me cook, simply to yell with them in the kitchen 9. I'll invite other people to dinner and tell them to complain about it audibly. The way that everyone does 10. Make my place really dirty before everyone comes over for dinner. Undercooked chicken with sides of oversalted mashed potatoes, unseasoned barely cooked broccoli, and a burned sauce consisting only of red wine and flour. Deconstructed Oreos for dessert, with expired skim milk. Edit. You're all fucking donuts. Also, do not forget warm water for him to drink, and greasy fork for extra. Harvest grease from the fork and give that to him to drink. Step 1. Buy any steak. Step 2. Cook it warmer than medium rare. Step 3. Present to Gordon Ramsay. Step 4. Collect limitless amounts of money as he destroys you, passes out, regains consciousness, and then continues to utterly berate you. Edit. Oh man, 1K plus. Can I retire now? Don't forget to add ketchup all over it before serving. I have been saving up ketchup packets from various fast food places for such an occasion. I would just need to cook normal. I won't be cooking, but my meal will be. I've known her for over a decade, and she's been cooking for another 2 decades prior. And I have never met anyone so completely clueless and wholly inept at anything. A roast is a culmination of culinary decisions which leave me screaming internally as I sit with the forced smile and eat. Cauliflower with cheese sauce has become a dish of overbaked cauliflower mush with a square of processed cheese melted on top in the microwave, a massive serving dish of microwaved peas. My God, every plate can drown in an ocean of green if you let it. The roast potatoes are charred black on one side, and slightly undercooked on the other. The roast beef is overcooked every damn time. But not accidentally by just 5 or 10 minutes, but 30 minutes consistently. The resulting meat has the equivalent moisture of a cardboard box, and very little flavor. No two components of this meal will finish cooking at the same time. The vegetables will often be plated for 20 minutes while waiting for the meat. Once dished, due to the temperature difference, the whole plate will be microwaved for a few minutes. Because of how dry and inedible the meat is at this point, it can only be consumed doused in tomato sauce, or a congealed, lumpy approximation of gravy, also brought forth from the microwave. I can only hope this leaves my meal with enough money to retire. Does your meal need a sous chef who is an expert in ridiculous pairings and absurd platings? A bowl of strawberries, one of them moldy, to accompany the main dish. Just limp lettuce underneath everything to make it look fancy. I'd love to volunteer my father for the position. Whatever I would normally serve a guest. Mostly because I suspect I'm not getting any money regardless.